Spring training may officially be here tomorrow, but pitchers and catchers have already started to heat things up down in Bradenton, Florida. Meanwhile, the Pirates aren't quite done with their offseason additions, as on Monday morning, they inked Marcell Ozuna to a one-year contract worth $12 million. $10.5 million of that will be his salary, with a $1.5 million option for 2027. Ozuna joins the Pirates in his age 35 season and looking for a bit of a resurgence after a down year in 2025 with the Atlanta Braves. He finished with a .232 batting average, a .756 OPS, and 21 home runs. And I know what you're saying, Nick, that down year would have been one of the best offensive seasons for the Pirates. And I agree with you. But at the same time, you look at that season, and there's a reason behind those numbers dropping the way that they did. Marcell Ozuna dealt with a right hip injury pretty much the entire season. It cost him some of his power, which is a big part of his game. If you look back to 2024, he finished with 39 home runs. If you look at 2023, he hit 40 home runs. That's the potential of the player that the Pirates just signed. But the good thing about Ozuna, even if those power numbers were not just the hip injury, even if that is a result of just, well, he's 35 years old, aging is catching up to him, and the power goes away with that. I think it's more so the former and the injury than it is the latter. So I expect the power to come back a little bit more in 2026. But even if it doesn't, even if you get 21 home runs from Marcell Ozuna, one, that would have led all Pirates last year. So it's hard to complain about that, first of all. But two, Marcell Ozuna showed last year when the power was gone that he could still adapt. You look at his on-base percentage last year, it was still very good. And why is that? Because he had a career-high 94 walks. He adjusted. He changed the way that he attacked his position, which is designated hitter. And he walked 94 times. So even if the power isn't all the way back, he is somebody that is capable of, at the very least, getting on base. And the Pirates needed everything last year. They were among the worst in the league across the board on offense. So even if the power doesn't come back, which I fully expect it will come back, maybe not to a 40 home run clip, especially when he's playing the majority of his games at PNC Park, but I think the power comes back a little bit this year. But even if it doesn't, this is a guy who has an intelligent approach at the plate and can get on base and create for the Pirates on the offensive side of the diamond. Now, it's fun because you can piece together what you expect a lineup to be, a projected lineup, if you will, but it's going to change 6, 7, 8, 10 times, maybe a dozen times over the next 6 weeks, but it's a fun exercise anyway. Now that we've added Marcell Ozuna, somebody who is likely to play in the majority of games this year, what does a potential opening day lineup look like for the Pirates? Well, I pieced together mine, and again, we have not had a singular formal session for Pirates spring training yet, so this is subject to change multiple times between now and March 26th. But what I'm looking at is Jake Mangum as your leadoff hitter and playing in left field, Brian Reynolds at number 2 and in right, Ryan O'Hearn at 3 and playing first base, Oneil Cruz in the cleanup spot and playing in center field, Brandon Lowe at 5 and playing at second base, Marcell Ozuna at 6 as the designated hitter, and then 7 through 9 is some combination of Henry Davis, Jared Triolo at third, and Nick Gonzalez at shortstop. That leaves Spencer Horwitz as an extra bat. That leaves Joey Bart as an extra bat. I'd imagine they would carry another outfielder, and then there is the Connor Griffin of it all. But all in all, this lineup is miles better than the lineup the Pirates trotted out last year, specifically for opening day when Nick Gonzalez was in it, but only in it for, I think, 2 at-bats or 3 at-bats before he hit a home run and went on the shelf for the next month without Spencer Horwitz. So the improvements have been made. And you have to commend the Pirates front office for making those improvements and bringing help to what is expected to be one of the better, if not best, rotations in all of baseball. The thing I love the most about this projected lineup, and again, this is just my opinion going into spring training, look at the protection that is given to Oneil Cruz. He's hitting behind Ryan O'Hearn, a guy who brings some power, but also ultimately is really good at getting on base. Behind Oneil Cruz is Brandon Lowe, a guy who hit 30 home runs last year. Behind him is Marcell Ozuna, a guy who hit 21 but has the potential to be over 30 home run guy. That type of lineup protection is going to create more opportunities for Oneil Cruz. So when I look at the lineup, it is very exciting as we get ready for the 2026 season. And the Pirates front office, they made sure that going into this year, there's going to be a lot more power. There's going to be a lot more lineup protection. And that should yield some really positive results for the Pirates. So I like this addition. But the problem is, in the action of signing Marcell Ozuna, the consequence of that is potentially the end of an era. What happens now with Andrew McCutchen? I'm somebody who has been firmly in the camp of you should bring him back and you should give him the retirement send-off tour that he deserves in Pittsburgh in 2026. Problem is, Marcell Ozuna is strictly a designated hitter. He has not played the field in 2 years, and even when he did, I believe he played 2 games at the beginning of 2024 in the field, and that was it. He has been strictly DH since then, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. And here's the thing. While Andrew McCutchen did mostly play as a designated hitter last year, he's been very open about the fact that he's willing to play in the outfield. He's always been willing to play outfield. The problem with that is the outfield's getting pretty crowded too with this addition, because while Ozuna doesn't play the outfield, he does take up DH, which might force Ryan O'Hearn to play more in the outfield. So all of a sudden, you do have 4 outfielders in Oneil Cruz, Brian Reynolds, Jake Mangum, and Ryan O'Hearn. So there's not a lot of room left at the inn, unfortunately. And if it ends up spelling the end for Andrew McCutchen in Pittsburgh, it is a sad day. But if we look back at his second stint, Andrew McCutchen over 3 years hit .242 with the Pirates, .738 OPS. But the win totals is really what tells the story, because that's what Andrew McCutchen came back for, to revive this team similar to like he did in the early 2010s. And they finished with 76, 76, and 71 wins. I don't think that's Andrew McCutchen's fault. I think anybody that says it would be is crazy. I think there are a laundry list of things that went wrong in those 3 seasons. But for him to be able to come back, for him to be able to receive the flowers from the fan base that he has over the last 3 seasons, it's special. Did he deserve another one? Again, speaking just in my opinion, yes, he did. Is it over? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we don't know the end of this saga. It is not set in stone what is going to happen in 2026. But if this is the end of Andrew McCutchen's time in Pittsburgh, I just wanted to say to close out this show that, I mean, the appreciation knows no bounds. Andrew McCutchen brought winning baseball back to Pittsburgh, and we all, as Pirates fans and as Pittsburghers, owe him a debt of gratitude that can probably never be repaid for that. So we'll keep our eyes on the Andrew McCutchen saga of it all, but hopefully there is a resolution that makes everybody happy. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this one. Once again, we'll have a top 5 storylines heading into Pirate Spring Training out for you tomorrow as pitchers and catchers officially report on February 11th. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys, and see you next time.